Hey there, Cancer Rising. How are you doing? So this is a forecast taking you from March 2026, the equinox, right the way through to the March equinox in 2027, i.e. the astrological year ahead. Happy New Year, by the way. If you want to know the ins and outs of everything I'm talking about, then there's a lot of explanation at the beginning of this video. If it really resonates with you, I do recommend re-listening to that because yeah, I've put so much detail in, and I think I can't really replicate that in every single sign forecast. But really what I'm doing here is then defining it to you as a Cancerian rising person, somebody with Cancer ascendant. Now, I'm using a whole sign methodology, meaning that Cancer equals the first house, Leo the second, Virgo the third. If when you look at your birth chart, you see that you've got Cancer and Leo in your first house, then I recommend that you also listen to the Leo rising forecast as well, which will be up next. Anyway, what I'm going to be doing is talking about all of these things in a step-by-step fashion to describe the opportunities as I see them, the overall themes, not necessarily specific days, although I am going to mention 4 times in this year ahead when I do think things are pretty big. Before I start kind of rattling through all these different points, though, I do want to recognize that you've had Jupiter in your first house since June of last year. And so that will have opened you up, your personality quite a bit, especially seeing as Jupiter was retrograde in your first house very recently. It's just gone direct, by the way. But it's opened up a lot about how you want to expand. So bearing that in mind, that's what we're going to look at is what is your expansion plan going to be? Moving on from the last year that we've just completed on. So, yeah, there's some big themes. I mean, Saturn and Neptune in your 10th house is going to be big. There's going to be a huge time in April. When I get to that, that's huge. So your careers are going to be really big. The nodes are shifting from the 9th. The North Node is in the 9th house currently and is going to end up in the 8th house. And similarly, the South Node is going to be going from your 3rd house to your 2nd. So that's where I'm going to start, actually. So the eclipses are nodes. All the eclipses are going to fit in this space here and in this space here. But this space is really showing here in particular from 8 degrees in the sign of Pisces back to 19 degrees in the sign of Aquarius. It's really showing the arc of, you know, what you're learning about life in the ever repeating cycles of life. You know, this is really showing you how far you've come with freeing yourself from dogma, freeing yourself from shut down views, maybe where you've not fully owned your opinions or your spirituality, maybe where you've taken other people's ideas on. This is a time when you're really defining life in your terms and expanding through those, maybe even teaching and sharing what you've been learning. I mean, this may well have also correlated with the time when you've been actively studying as well. Very intense in thought and also in movement. You know, it can often make us want to move around. And actually, you've had Jupiter in the first house as well, also makes us want to travel. So, yeah, as we start this new astrological year on March the 20th, 2026, I think you are very curious. You know, there's a curiosity that's kind of insatiable. And as we get to March of 2027, not only have you learnt loads and open your mind more, but it's brought up deeper issues that you've kind of taken as read. You know, for instance, you know, in our childhoods, we might experience, you know, a few bits that feel a little bit traumatic or lots actually in some people's experience. But we have these times where sometimes things don't quite work out and, you know, we accumulate things like guilt, shame, blame, anger, resentment, and they kind of pile on in and we don't always know what to do with them. What I think is probably happening is since you've expanded your mind view, you've looked back at some of the things going on in your life and you think, oh my God, that's really messed up. Or oh my God, how did I not see that before? And so part of this year, I think, is recognizing that your whole life is almost being recoded right now because your mind has expanded. Now, the last time the North Node would have gone through this exact space would have been around about 18, 19 years ago. So, I mean, maybe you can remember how you were transforming that long ago. Maybe there's a repeating pattern. But to me, it does feel like you're kind of reacclimatizing to your ideas on guilt and shame and blame and anger, and also letting a lot of stuff go, especially if this is the second or maybe even the third time that the North Node has come through this part of your chart. You know, it's really showing you where you can just let go of a lot of things because you've grown beyond that. You've become a better person. Now, the South Node at the same time, and that can also involve a lot of stuff to deal with in terms of your family and family wealth, and also coming to terms with what you already do well in terms of your wealth. I mean, the South Node coming into the second house, I think, can remind you of where you've actually really managed your money quite well, and done a great job of it. So there's a lot of supporting factors here. I don't think you're unsupported. That's the important thing to recognize. Now, when you fit that into the fact that Saturn and Neptune up here are in a career house, and Neptune's going to be there for a really long time, and Saturn's going to be here for like 2 and a bit years because he's already done a little stint here already. To me, that's an indication that you're really transforming how you stand up for yourself, how you look after yourself, how you have developed your career. And again, with Jupiter coming into your second house, the South Node also coming into your second house, to me, it feels like you're coming into a time when you are managing your money, you're managing it much better than you thought, and you're stepping up in the world. Now, it might not be plain sailing. Saturn in the 10th never is. However, it's giving you something to resolve. And if you can resolve it really well, then there's a real uplift as a possibility. So I like that. You know, Jupiter is going to be showing you a lot more well-being around money. In fact, at the start of this year ahead, he is, I think, around 16, 17 degrees in the sign of Cancer. And during the whole year, he is going to go up as far as 27 Leo before he retrogrades back. But an important moment for Jupiter in this year ahead will be revealed sort of later on in July. When he gets to 4 degrees Leo, he's going to be meeting up in a very important formation, which I'll talk about shortly. But his expansion is coming into this sense of well-being, and also coming into a sense of acknowledged self-esteem. So one of the things that he's going to be bringing in is this question, you know, how can I feel secure in myself? How can I increase the security? How can I increase my confidence? Now, also with Saturn in your 10th, you're really going to be asking yourself, how can I have rock solid confidence in myself? In fact, Saturn and Neptune are going to be working in this lovely trine energy with Jupiter at some point during this year ahead. That's really going to connect your earnings and your confidence to your real-time results. So I really think it's all moving in the right way from that perspective. Now, Saturn and Neptune, you know, where is spirit taking shape? You know, any big ideals you've got and things that you want to bring into the world, I think are going to be really emphasized. Saturn in the 10th house can show some quite efficient and older characters. Very successful business people can come into your world, and you may well get some tutelage. You know, you might get a little bit of coaching or mentorship from somebody. If you get the opportunity for that, I would choose to take it. I mean, there are so many good indications right now that you are on your way up. So, you know, if there is a suitable mentor, don't forget to pay attention and openly receive the gifts that are there for you. But one thing that I would say is anywhere where you're not comfortable with strong energy, with decisive energy, with discernment, with self-respect, You may well find that a character comes into your career to give you a little bit of shit to kind of help you grow, to help you push back, to help you. And when I say push back, I don't mean to get really angry, but to push back from a sense of your own discernment and your self-respect. So Saturn here is a bit of a mixed bag. If you cannot take things personally, but recognize that you've got an opportunity to take yourself seriously, then I think everyone else will as well. Now, Neptune being in the 10th, I think is bringing some very sort of creative opportunities, opportunities that are really aligned to what your soul is calling out for. But it can also bring in some questions about what your purpose is. So anywhere where there's a mentor that can help you unpick your sense of purpose, I think it's going to be really helpful, because it might just seem like your true purpose is a little bit elusive and you can't quite put your finger on it. And that could possibly make you shoot kind of arrows in lots of different directions. It might create this sense of, I've just got to try lots and lots of different things. It could scatter your energy. So again, I think mentorship could really help tighten what it is you're wanting to create, so that you can really do some sharp focus on the spirit of who you are. So I really do recommend sort of finding out what you're about in terms of your career at a real soul level. And I think that's going to be very helpful. Now, they're going to be in a conjunction pretty much all year. They're going to come out of it and go back into it, but they're still going to be working together in the 10th house. Now, Chiron, where you're healing, I think anywhere where you've had feelings of difficulty about being seen, and difficulty with taking responsibility, I think, Chiron's going to give you a bit of a break from that. Where he's moving into is a place in your 11th house. He's popping his head in on the 19th of June for 3 months, then going back into the sign of Aries. I think what's likely to show up at that time is where you might need to heal from possibly childhood bullying, or any times when you felt excluded socially, or that you didn't fit into what everyone else was talking about. Anywhere where you felt like you maybe weren't good enough for the collective, or that you were just kind of slightly out of sequence with them. Chiron coming into the sign of Taurus is a sort of natural healing. He's encouraging you to connect with people, contacts, maybe business contacts and networks, same interest groups. But he's encouraging you to connect in a way through natural health, natural healing, through understanding the natural cycles of life. And also he's encouraging you to do it with a sense of purity, and also looking for comfort. So I don't know what that might mean, other than maybe some of the usual types of people you usually have friendships with are going to change. You have had Uranus going through here, and I think that would have brought in a lot of eclectic friends, a lot of real spontaneous friends. And that can also bring in some sort of difficulties, because, some of your friends and the people you were connected with may have given you a bit of a wild ride. You might not have even been able to trust people to be their word. So as Chiron is coming in here, he's giving you a taster of how you can heal your relationships with people. And of course, you might want to start with healing anything that you feel is out in your own energy. So for instance, if you feel like maybe you're not good enough for the collective, or you're not good enough to be seen, that's like echoing the 10th house, you might find that people aren't seeing you and people aren't wanting to connect with you. So to me, it's an inner healing that then allows you to kind of radiate that out. I do think, he's going to be here for quite a few years. And in 2027, he's going to come back for the rest of his time in Taurus. But you're really getting a little peek about Chiron in Taurus. Chiron can also show up as a mentor again. So you may well find that you're attracting a lot of mentoring, coaching type people and friends into your world. You might find that you're connecting with same interest people who are all about coaching and connecting and staying strong together. So there's lots of possibilities here, but I see it as a good thing. I think I see it as being very helpful, him coming out of the 10th house. Now, Uranus is going into the 12th. He gave you a bit of a peek of that last year. And it can be a little bit uncomfortable at first because Uranus is, I think, very much about universal consciousness. Not so much the vibes, which is more the Neptune side of things, but Uranus really helps us channel and connect into our intuition, in particular telepathy, the sense of utter, very clear, shocking knowing. I've got Uranus in my 12th house, and all my life I get flashes of intuition that just kind of zap in and zap out. I see little movies playing or words that come up when I'm talking to people. Questions really start the dialogue going for me. So what you might find is helpful to use this really great channeling Uranus energy is to ask yourself big open questions every day. You know, when you've got some time on your own, for me, it's like washing up or having a shower. You know, I ask questions such as, what might be the best use of my energy right now? You know, or, you know, just something that is open, you know, something that could help you find your, you know, a greater sense of clarity. And then you just leave it. You leave all these open questions hanging. And the Uranus energy and the 12th house, I believe, it's like life wants to communicate back to you. You get signs, you get words, you get sounds. And so you are coming into a time of awakening to a much bigger reality. And that reality is that the reality of everything in front of you, like I'm knocking on my table here, it sounds solid, I'm sat on a chair, you know, that's our 3D reality as we see it, but there's so much more around us, and you're getting a real strong sense of you know, that there are other connections, that what we see is just the tip of the iceberg, and actually like life is communicating with us with sounds, with rhythms, with messages, with messengers. And so the more you can start using the energy to open up the questioning mind and open up that sense of possibility and consciousness, it will be a really good step. You can have fun with it. It won't necessarily be an easy ride all the time, because it could actually you know, help you change your mind about a lot of things. You'll start possibly sensing where things aren't really true. And of course, that can be really, really confusing. And then Pluto, you know, he's gone into your 8th house. He's been there about 18 months so far. And he's going to be there for many, many more years, well over a decade, I think about another 17 years. Now, in the 8th house, he has opened you up to a lot of the old stuff, the old baggage. And so I mentioned some of this before, you know, where have you had some old family patterns residing, where now that you see things from a much bigger perspective because of the North Node in the 9th house, now you're able to review a lot of your past experiences and think, that's not so good, I want to change that. Well, Pluto is here to change that, and to change your relationship to shared money, shared resources with the people around you. I mean, one of the deepest lessons that you're learning with Pluto in the 8th house is how to trust people, you know, how to trust your immediate family and your birth family, your cousins, your aunts, your grandparents and stuff. How can you trust the old family matrix at a much deeper level? And so, you know, any situations you might need to get that ball rolling, Pluto's there to give you that transformational invitation. It's not comfortable, but it's there. So there's a lot of transformation, you know, from Jupiter here, which is encouraging you to trust yourself implicitly, with Uranus really informing your mind when something's off and giving you this kind of fast track into the world of consciousness to get ideas. I mean, automatic writing and things like that can also come through. And then your growing confidence in the world, and also connecting to people that can help you to take yourself more seriously. To me, that's all working to actually help Pluto in his job to trust yourself more, and from that trust other people more. In fact, all 4 of these, and Saturn's not too far away either, but Pluto, Neptune, Uranus and Jupiter are all going to be at 4 degrees in their respective signs between the 19th and the 23rd of July. It's a very, very intense time when I think what you've been working on in yourself is going to start to speed up. It's like you're putting your foot down on the accelerator. It's, your development is going to go really, really fast. It's a very inspiring time when the wheels of creation really start to turn. So, watch out for that. Now, there's 3 other times I want to highlight as well. The first one is around the 16th of April. We've got the new moon in Aries, but it really isn't just the new moon in Aries. We've got 7 planets in the sign of Aries, and that's really, in your 10th house territory. In fact, the new moon is in an exact conjunction with Chiron. Yikes. And so this is a time where career is everything, your achievements, your reputation, how you feel appreciated, all of that's going to come up. And I really think it could bring about a feeling of, where is my career going? What changes do I need to make? And this is about you standing up and standing into the pattern of what you need to do and who you need to be to make that work. It's a very, very decisive time. And one to look out for. It's less than a month away as well. Then we've also got the new moon in the first house that's happening on the 15th of June. That's right before Chiron goes into Taurus. So it's a very, very sensitive time. But this new moon in June, that rhymes. It's going to be giving you a sense of possibility about what you're creating for yourself. It's a beautiful time, in fact. So my advice is, a good week before, maybe around the 7th, really clear some space for yourself, especially if you've got this new career plan, underway. Like, clear some space for yourself, retreat, renew, rejuvenate yourself, give yourself space to really know what you're about. Because when that new moon hits, to me, it's signaling that there's a new you coming forwards. And then the final one would be when there's a full moon in the first house on the 24th of November. Full moons tend to bring up the heebie-jeebies in people. It makes people very over emotional, especially for you as somebody with a Cancer rising. And so around that time, again, about a week ahead of time, I recommend that you let go of as much useless stuff that you've got going on in your life, all the stuff that is emotional, holds you back, isn't going to yield anything. Drop it, pass it to somebody else, get rid of it, recycle it, whatever. Clear space so that when the energy sweeps in and gets you all emotional, that your focus is on the right things, because then you can really put that beautiful, I'm thinking of it as a pregnant belly, like you've been growing something very, very special. And, after this full moon in your first house, you'll be ready to release it. So make sure you're releasing the right things. So I hope that's helpful to you, Cancer. I hope it's given you a sense of some of the things that are coming up in this year ahead for you. Wishing you a beautiful time. And if you would like a more personal reading that's absolutely based on your unique birth chart, then just get in touch. My link to Calendly is just below. You click there, you check out my diary and book an appointment that way and invite me to work with you. The other invitation I would give to you would be, I've got my free community on school. Monday to Friday, I put out a 10 to 15 minute update about what's going on a day-by-day basis. If you'd like to hear more from me, then please do just join my school community. I've got there's some hangouts and replays of community meetings that we've done about various astrological things, but I also teach astrology in my school community. So again, if you're wanting more of a connection with me, please feel free to join there. But anyway, have a beautiful new year. Lots and lots of love to you. Bye for now.